discuss Shaun King. Shaun King, you know, he's a famed journalist, editor, activist, speaker. He's got his own political action committee, PAC, okay? You know, he's always addressing issues when it regards to racism, sexism, classism, misogyny, any oppressive, you know, systematic discrimination and abuse, he's gonna talk about. And a lot of people have even went as far as saying that he kind of, you know, how you have poverty porn where like people get off on taking pictures of them giving money to people who are homeless or who are asking for donations or need help, and they want to take pictures, kind of like the whole hashtag lunch bag thing, where it's like, is it really necessary for you to be taking pictures of people that you're helping? You know, it's like you guys want some type of clout, some type of accolades or something. It's like an attention seeking thing. So using that as a reference, Shaun King is kind of like oppress people porn, in the sense that every time you turn around, he's just going at it. Whatever, if there's a police brutality, racism, discrimination, classism, sexism, whatever it is, if it's negative and it's about marginalized people being oppressed, he's going after it. He's writing an article about it. He's posting pictures. He's getting all this research about the victims, and he's like putting all their information out there. So it's kind of like oppress people porn in a way, right? But Psych perspectives, you know, I've got my own personal opinions, but then I understand that there are perspectives. And there's so many different sides to this and so many ways and angles of looking at Shaun King. So first off, let's talk about what's going on recently with Shaun King. Shaun King threatens to sue activists who accused him on Twitter of mishandling fundraisers. Sounds like Dr. Umar Johnson. Sounds like a lot of these savior types who think that they have all the answers and they're going to be the ones to save the people, if you will. Narcissistic God complex, maybe. Get where I'm going? Anyways, Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King poses. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to read that part. Prominent Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King recently earned wide praise after feeding a tip to the Harris County Sheriff's Office that led to an arrest in the December killing of 7-year-old Jasmine Burns in Houston. But not everyone was oppressed. Several other racial justice activists took to Twitter to question to whether King had followed through on the $100,000 reward he and civil rights attorney Lee Merritt offered this month for successful tips and to raise claims that he had mishandled fundraising efforts in other high-profile cases. King quickly hit back, insisting he and others had raised the money and paid off the tipster. But he didn't stop there. Rather than simply refuting the critics, King soon turned to legal threats that were notable to other activists because of whom King singled out: young, Black, and in at least 2 cases, queer writers and activists. That was their makeup, their background, right? Their identities, that he singled out young, Black, and in at least 2 cases, queer writers and activists. Now, I'm not even about to read all of that. Again, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. Psych perspectives. Time to light up. Okay, let's get to it. So let's be honest here. One perspective, Shaun King has done a lot of amazing work when it comes to journalism and covering oppression in this country and around the world. And he has done a lot of amazing work helping people who have been victimized by oppressive systems and situations. Whether he's raising money to help bail people out or to get tips on who actually inflicted the harm and the pain, or paying for people's legal fees. You know, he's done amazing things. And we can't deny the fact that he addresses the issues that marginalized people face on a daily, when mainstream media doesn't care or can't care or doesn't have the time to. You know, he actually has his Twitter, you know, he's writing his articles, he's been doing this for years, and he's a Black Lives Matter activist. I might do a video on why I took a break and probably won't be going back to the Black Lives Matter activism and social justice activism, and I'll do a video on that. But basically, this is not surprising in the least. You know, he's done great things. This is not the takeaway from all of the great attributes of Shaun King. But when we look at him calling out the young Black, and two of them happen to be queer writers and activists, this is not surprising. We are products of our environment, Psych perspectives. We're products of our environment. What I mean by that is, we grew up in the same oppressive environment that you grew up in. And some of us, most of us, I would argue, have adapted oppressive ideologies and beliefs. Although he is a Black Lives Matter activist and he's done a lot of work to help oppress people, he's still in an oppressive structure. He's still a product of an oppressive structure, and he's a man, so he's naturally gonna have male privilege, if that's a perspective that you can agree on, and he's naturally gonna think he knows what's up. He's heterosexual. He's gonna have a heteronormative privilege. You know, he's college educated. He's got money and wealth. He's got pristine. He's got connections and networks. So he's gonna have a class privilege too. It's only knowing these things that you shouldn't be surprised if he comes off as being sexist at times, classist at times, and homophobic at times, right? Or misogynist at times. Not really a surprise. I mean, he grew up in this environment. However, Psych perspectives, knowing these things and calling yourself an activist, you should be paying attention to when you're slipping up and making mistakes, and you should right those wrongs. Because if not, it just comes across like, well, then shit, you're really not for social justice, equity, and inclusion, and all that other SJW shit that is spewed, okay? SJW, social justice warrior, all right? Another perspective, defense, like I was going, for the young Black people and the two queer people of color, writers and activists, you gotta look at their side as well. They're looking at him like, dude, you've been accused of mishandling funds multiple times. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. This has happened multiple times before, okay? We have reason to question you and your partner to make sure that that $100,000 actually went to the tipster. I get it. I get where they're coming from. Yeah, right? And then I also get that it's odd that, damn, when you do go after people or, you know, defaming you and talking badly about you or accusing you or whatever, you go after the Blacks, the young, and two queer writers and activists, but are you using that same energy when the white people are going after your ass? Because they're always dragging you through the mud. And I don't see you talking about legal threats to sue them. Do you see those perspectives? Okay, I'm just saying, some of y'all, but see, this goes back to what I said in my previous video about the Black community and the Black conscious community. And this could be argued to be spread into other marginalized community, but Shaun King likes to state his claim to being Black, even though we know that he is of mixed race, biracial, okay, multi-ethnicities. And let me get this straight. Most of us are mixed race, if we're going to use race, a social construction, to identify us. Most of us, all of us are mixed race. It's just that some of us have larger portions and percentages of that mixed race. So he stakes his claim to being Black. He owns it. He's married to a Black woman. He has children with a Black woman, which most of us would just see as Black. I personally saw him as Black before I even knew that he had a mother that wasn't Black, because he just looks Black, you know, to me. Then again, some of you looking at me are gonna say, well, you clearly have light skin privilege, so you need to shut up. So that's probably what y'all are saying to me, which is one of another reasons why I'm like, I had to leave the SJW community, because y'all, in my opinion, look, I'll do a video on it, okay? So back to the point, all right? Oh, you can see this, right? The thing is this, use that same energy. If you're gonna go after the young Black queer writers and activists, then you should be doing the same thing when when these white people and these conservatives go after you, okay? Because it just looks a little iffy, you know what I mean? It looks like you're just inserting your privilege and you've completely negated everything that you claim to stand for and support, okay? And let's just keep it real, okay? Okie dokie. Okay, so got that, right? And if you remember, I think it was in 2015, 4 years ago almost, when people were questioning what his race was, what his culture and ethnicity was, and then like he went on social media and wrote articles and shared pictures of him when he was brutally, like viciously attacked and beaten, damn near to death. And he has pictures of that, and he showed that to kind of prove, like, listen, I was beaten by white supremacists because I was black. You know, so that was his stake on it, right? I'll leave a link to an article referencing so you can see what I'm talking about. So, and then mind you, I've seen other people also come out and be like, you know, you're basically an oppressive reflector because you just love sharing negative, bad, sad, graphic news about black lives in black communities to black people and to everybody who's watching. That can be extremely traumatizing for people to constantly see black and brown bodies and people that look just like them shot down in the streets, murdered, killed, just looking at their dead bodies over and over and over again. Not only can that be traumatizing to some, but that can also cause desensitization, where people no longer feel empathy or sympathy for that person. And then they keep seeing people that look like that person, black and brown people. Pretty soon, not only white folks, but black and brown people and other people of color and people in general are gonna become desensitized. And pretty soon it's just gonna become like, oh, well, that's all the time. They're always being shot and killed. Oh, well, moving on, next channel, next story. So you can see why people are angry with Shaun King on that as well, because I personally don't get the point in constantly showing dead bodies and pictures of black and brown people being beaten, and I just don't get the point. But then I can get the other perspective, similar to what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement and Malcolm X and so on and so on, and Rosa Parks and so on and so on, is what they did was you had the media, first time ever, really capturing video footage of peaceful, non-violent people being beaten, killed, and hosed down. Rest in peace, Emmett Till, 1955. Jet had the picture of his open casket, and it was an open casket funeral. When everyone could see how brutally he was killed and tortured, it really sparked the change. So I can see another reason why, Psych Perspectives, why Shaun King and others constantly blast those pictures and images and video, but I can also see how that can be extremely traumatizing and can lead to desensitization. I'm gonna read another one. Shaun King under attack, Black Twitter goes crazy. Oh, Black Twitter, got various opinions on that as well, because to me, there's a lot of truths, there's a lot of positives, but there's a lot of negatives and there's a lot of falsehoods. And in general, it's toxic and problematic, but it's also uplifting and necessary. So I might do a video on that as well. But well-known Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King has been lauded as a hero for helping to track down white supremacists involving in the beating of DeAndre Harris in Charlottesville, Virginia, 2017. Unite the Right rally with the white supremacist kids, and men and women, everyone was out there. Yeah, he's done all of this, right? And then this is what he said on Twitter about the people accusing him of fraud and lying and, you know, not really doing what he said he was doing with the money, and particularly to the two young black color. This is what Shaun King said. If you haven't posted publicly that I have ever, if you have posted publicly that I have ever spent or stolen a single penny I've raised for families in this movement, I am opening a legal case against you. King threatened on Wednesday. This is complete fabrication. Psych Perspectives. He made this publicly and addressed it to any and everybody. So it's not necessarily being targeted at young Black people who happen to be queer writers and activists. Also to white folks, this is also to heterosexuals, this is also to old folks and middle-aged folks, and this is to everybody. You know, so that's one side perspective, but the other perspective is if you can find 2 young Black queer people who are writers and activists to target, then you can also find white folks, you can also find straight folks, you can also find old folks, you can find a plethora of other people. Also, another Psych perspectives is Shaun King, at this point, you're a public figure. So you can't sue everyone because they say you're lying or they think you're lying. You can't sue folks because they think that you're a fraud. You really can't. You're a public figure. A lot of us think that President Trump is an asshole and is racist, but he can't sue us because we think that he's racist. You're a public figure. When you decided to do all this media, Black Lives activist work, and you're on the media and you're on TV and you're doing this and you're doing that, you are a public figure at this point. You are no longer an everyday, person. That's one perspective, okay? So, read this. One of the tweets made by one of the people that he's suing or threatening to sue. This was a heavy-handed and unnecessary act by someone claiming to be committed to justice and uplifting Black people, tweeted Clarissa Brooks, a Black queer community activist, recent Spelman College graduate, and a recipient of one of King's cease and desist letters. I am not a malicious person, and I do not appreciate being accused of trying to destroy anyone. And I got a warning. You either stop making these claims and you decease this shit now, or you keep making these claims and I'm suing your ass. Now, if that doesn't show you what privilege is all about in a nutshell, you're literally suing someone because they have an opinion of you about that. Because they have an opinion of you, it's off a track record of you supposedly not doing all of these donation and fundraisers to the people, to the victims. You have an opinion, and they write about it on their Twitter, which they can do. We have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I mean by, it's very hypocritical. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm probably gonna be doing some more videos discussing other topics. Because there needs to be a discussion on interpreting the law and what the law is and what are our rights. Because a lot of this ish is very gray space, you feel me? Because you don't really have any rights when you sit down and think about it, in my opinion, but we'll do a video on it. That was posted, okay? Again, you can read the rest of this, but we got a lot to say about Shaun King, I'll say that. Some like him, some dislike him, some hate him. And mind you, Shaun King has received another Psych perspective. Shaun King has received countless death threats. People are always wishing death upon him and, threatening his life on a daily basis. You can also see why he, was like, listen, I'm out here risking my life for you people, okay? And I didn't mean you people as in you people, but you get where I'm going with this. How dare you come to me with this blasphemy? So I can see where he's coming from too, right? All of this will be in the description box below. I drop my personal opinion, drop some perspectives. You can add your perspectives in the comment box below here.